Welcome to the Better Act Now series of online training courses. My name is Elaine Marsden and this is the Act version 16 Fundamentals course. The pace of this training is fast, so we recommend you have your Act database open at the same time as you watch this video. You can pause it at any time and try things out for yourself. To access the table of contents, click the icon in the lower right-hand corner of the screen next to the speaker button. So let's get started. So don't worry if you've not used Act before. We'll start at the beginning by creating a database. We'll add contact records. I'll show you how to use duplicates to save time. We'll set up relationships. We'll add notes and histories and practice adding activities onto our calendars. We'll have a look at the Web Info tab, send some emails and letters and run reports. We'll look at working with companies and groups, adding opportunities and looking at the dashboards. And finally, we'll finish with the Scratchpad. So once you've installed Act, you'll be taken to this welcome page where you can either create a brand new Act database or open up an existing database. For the majority of this training, we'll be using the Act demo database. But while you're on this screen, why not check out what Napkin Mike has to say about Act? Still haven't created a database yet, select the Create an Act Database radio button and click OK. In this dialog box, type in the name of your database with no spaces, and don't start the database name with a number, it must start with a letter. Choose the location. The default is for it to be in My Documents or Documents. Choose the currency. Share your database if you're in a multi-user environment, and type in your username, and password is optional. Click OK to start to create your new database. I've opened up the Act demo database, but you could be in your newly created database now. The very first screen you see is this welcome page, and over on the right hand side you can see some featured videos. In the centre here you've got more topics with more information and resources, and over on the left hand side at the top you can see you've got the Lookup box. Underneath that there are related tasks, and on this navigation pane you can see hyperlinks to the various parts of your database, and it's possible to expand this pane or make it smaller altogether. Now let's take a look at some of the preference settings. First of all, I'll narrow the navigation pane to allow a little bit more space on the screen. Then I'll come up to Tools and Preferences, and first of all I'll go to the Colours and Fonts tab, and I'll apply grid lines to a lot of the tables. So if I hold the Shift button down and select Task List, all of those tables will have grid lines, and click OK. Now I'll go back to Tools and Preferences again, and this time I'm going to come over to Communication and make sure that Word is showing as my processor. I'll come to the Start tab, and if you want to, you can change the way the Act opens up. I like to have the contact screen showing as my startup view, but you might find that it's set to welcome, so you can change that or choose whatever other startup view you prefer. The other thing we're going to do, we're going to set up a link between our email and Outlook. So I'm going to click Email and Outlook Sync. If this has not been done before, you will need to click Email System Setup and work your way through the wizard. Click Next. Make sure a tick is showing in Microsoft Outlook, and Next. Then you can have up to 3 address books showing here. The one that's the default one for me is the Act 2014 demo. So you can remove address books or indeed add address books to add your own database. Click the Add button. Then we'll click Next, And all the other settings, I would recommend you choose the default, so that Outlook is your email editor, that you record email subject and message, and the recommended settings for the final step. Click Next and Finish. And now you've set up a link between Act and Outlook, so that every time you send an email from your Act database, a history item will be recorded against the contacts record. Now let's go straight over to the heart of your database, Contacts. We'll click this button here to go direct to the contact window. Now, starting from the very top, you have the menu bar, the global toolbar, the view bar, and in the centre of that view bar you have the navigation buttons, which allow you to go from one contact record to another. Now, in the top half of this window, you can see all the kind of information you might find on a contact's business card: their company, their phone number, their address. And in the lower half of the window you can see histories and notes associated with that contact. Over on the left is the navigation pane. You can click the double sets of arrows to minimise this pane to give you more space. Click again to expand the navigation pane. When you first open your Act database, the first contact record you'll go to is the My record. Now, because I'm in the demo database, this has taken me to Chris Huffman's record. When you're in your own database, you'll see your contact details on this screen. Now, it's really important that you set the country field to the country where you're based in, because all the dialing codes will be associated with that country field. Now, if you want to check to make sure the My record is set correctly, come up to the menu item, Lookup My record, to go straight to the My record of this database. Now we'll add a new contact record to our database. The easiest way to do that is to come up to the New button, type in there the contact's name, and when you tab down to the company field, see how the salutation field is filled out automatically for you. I'm now going to type in the company name, and if you want to save the record, you can either click the Save button or use Ctrl and S for the keyboard shortcut. But don't worry, if you were to close your database down without making any saves, all your contact records would be saved automatically. But it's quite good practice to do regular saves if you're entering a lot of contact information. Just a word on the salutation preferences. The default is for the salutation field to show the contact's first name. But if you want to change that, come up to Tools and Preferences, Salutation Preferences, and here you can change it. It's currently showing as the contact's first name, but you might want to show it as their last name including their first name prefix. Mrs. Ward. Click OK. OK one more time. Now, in order for those changes to be set, you have to update the database. So you do that in step 2 by coming to Tools, Update Salutation field. You can just do it on the current contact or on all contacts. I'll just do it on current contacts to show you what effect that has. Click OK. And there you can see my salutation preferences have been updated for this one contact. Fill out as much information as you can on the contact record. Job titles you can select from the drop-down list. You can tab through to the phone field. If you prefer your phone fields to be formatted to freeform, click the button to the right and there you can choose the format you prefer. I like freeform, which strips out the brackets and the spaces between the numbers. And if you want to make sure that these settings are permanent, so they're across all your contact records, click the button again, click Edit Formats, and make sure you've got a tick in freeform showing as the default. If you work with international clients, you might want to show the country dialing codes. So to do that, come up to Tools and Preferences and make sure Always Display Country Code in Phone Fields is selected and click OK. Now we'll tab down to the email field, type in the person's email. You'll notice that's a hyperlink field, so when you click on that email address, it will open up a new Outlook mail message. Now we're going to take a look at two of the most important fields in your database. The ID status field. Click the drop-down arrow and you can see that this is a multi-select option. So this person could in fact be a customer and a friend. Click away and you can see that those two values have now been added to the ID status field. And this field is a fantastic way of segmenting your database so that further on you'll be able to look up all your customers to keep in contact with them. The next field that's important is where the contact came from, and there you can see the referred by field, and there's several predefined options available. If you can't find what you're looking for there, click Edit List Values, click Add, and you can actually type in new values that you can choose. So this contact came from Facebook, click OK, and there you can see that's been added to the referred by field. Every Act database comes with two default contact window layouts, and you can change between the two layouts by coming up to the layout selector. Click the drop down and choose the other layout. This layout has lots more fields showing on it, so let's make the top half of the window a bit larger. Pull down there. You can see there are new fields like personal email, website, last results. And over on the right hand side you can see some grey fields or system fields that are populated automatically with dates. So for example, the email field will show the date of the last email that was sent through your Act database. And if you want more information on your contact record, come over to the Contact Access button in the lower half of the window. Let's make this window a little bit larger now, and here you can see precisely who the Contact Record Manager is, when the contact was added to your database, and indeed when it was last edited. Act makes it really easy to add another contact at the same company. You don't have to type all the address details out again. Just come up to the Duplicate Contact button on the toolbar. You can choose to either duplicate the primary fields, that's the company name and address, or duplicate data from all the fields on this record. I'll choose the top option, click OK, and now I can see the company details are showing. I just need to type in there the contact name and save the record. If you meet the receptionist or a gatekeeper of a particular company, add them as a secondary contact. Come over to the Secondary Contacts tab, New Secondary Contact, type in there the contact's name. You can include the phone number if you wish as well, and click OK. Now it's worth bearing in mind that these secondary contacts can't be emailed from your Act database. So if you want that facility, you'll need to promote the secondary contact so that they become a contact in the top half of your window. To do that, click the Promote button. You've got a choice what data to use. I'm going to choose the primary fields data. Click OK, and there you can see Sheila Bloom has now been added as a main contact rather than a secondary contact. If you want to relate one contact to another, use the Relationships tab and Relates Contact. Type in there the contact that Brandon's related to. That's Katie. He's actually the husband, she's the wife, and click OK. Now you can see that they're connected. In fact, there's a hyperlink between the two records. If I click her name, it takes me to her record. If I click Brandon's name, I go straight back to his record. If you ever need to remove the relationship, you can right-click to remove the relationship. But this is a very powerful feature, and you can have more than one relationship with a single contact. Think very carefully before you delete a contact from your database. You might want to try a couple of other strategies instead. For example, if the contact no longer works at the company, what you could do is change their ID status to ex-employee. So that you don't send them any more marketing messages, remove their email address. Now, email fields are rather sensitive, they're hyperlink fields, so I always recommend you right-click over that field, edit email. When it's selected, you can then hit delete. If you actually know for sure you've made an error and you want to remove the contact from the database, come up to Contacts on the menu, Delete Contact, select Delete Contact. You always get a warning, are you sure it can't be undone? Click Yes to remove that contact from your database. It's very easy to insert blank records into Act. I'm going to show you how you can look up all of those blank records and remove them from your database in one go. So far we've been looking at the detail view. Let's come over to List View. And here you can see all the contact records in your database. And at the very top you can see there's a number of records that are blank. Click with the left mouse and pull down to highlight all of those blank records. Then you can right click over those highlighted records, delete contact. It warns you you're about to delete 6 selected records. Do you want to continue? Yes. You get a second warning. Click Yes to remove all of those blank records from your database. I really like working in this list view. It's a great way to see just how tidy your database is and to make sure everything is in the right place. Any of these column headings can be sorted. I can click the city column and all the city fields are now sorted in alphabetical order. I can do the same for the company field, contact field, and if I want to go straight to a contact record, I can come over to the Options button, click Show Look For box, and when I start to type in the first few letters of the contact surname, I can go straight to their record, Brandon Sloan. And if I want to see the detail view, I can just double click to go right to the detail contact record. This list view is very flexible and very easy to modify. Come up to the Customize Columns button. All the fields in your database are showing on the left. All the fields currently in view are on the right. Now I don't want to see the IS user, database users, so I'm going to remove that from view. Private contact, remove that. Phone extension, remove that as well. But I do want to see the email field. I'll highlight it, use the top arrow to bring it into view. Select email and I'm going to move that field up so that it's next to the contact field. Click OK to see your new customized view. One of the quickest ways to find a contact record is to use the Lookup box. Type in there the information and hit enter to go straight to the contact record. You might also want to look up everyone in your database based in a particular city. Let's choose the city field and right click over that field to look up city. I'm going to search for everyone in the City of London and click OK, and there you can see 2 contacts based in London. Let's try another quick lookup. Let's come up to Lookup on the menu this time, come down to zip code, and I'm going to look at everyone who's got a zip code that starts with 3. Click OK, and there you can see 12 records showing on the screen. One of the great things about working in list view is that you can edit contact information. Say for example we wanted to find all of those contact records without email addresses. Come to Lookup, down to email address, change the starts with to does not contain data and click OK. And there you can see 96 contacts haven't got email addresses. We'll come up to edit mode, put a tick in there, and now you can work through your contact records, adding in those missing email addresses. If you prefer to make changes in detail view, take the tick out of edit mode, double click one of the contact records, and then you can go through and add email addresses from this view. You can either use your navigation buttons, or if you like the keyboard shortcut, page up, page down, to go from one record to another. The universal search is extremely powerful and can be accessed by either selecting search from the navigation pane or coming up to the search box in the top right hand corner of the screen. I'm going to type in there the word Italy and hit go, and there you can see a note that I created earlier on about a contact planning a trip to Italy. Let's come up to the search box here, and this time I'm going to type in the word computer and go, and that's generated a whole lot more search results. It's searching through notes and opportunities, and you can filter. You can filter by selecting contacts, and you can see just 2 contact records there, and if you want to you can actually look up those contacts by clicking the contacts button, and that will create a lookup. So let's go back to search, and this time I'm going to search for London, and as you can see it's showing all the contacts that have something to do with that word London, whether it's the city field or the home city. And one of the most powerful things about universal search is that you can use it to search through attachments to the database. So that makes it extremely useful if you're searching for documents or purchase orders or invoice records. Act helps you build relationships with your contacts, and the Notes tab allows you to add information that you've learnt about your contacts as you get to know them. It's really easy to add a new note. You can use F9, or you can use Insert New Note, or you can right click to insert a note. Type in there the note. It will in fact be date and time stamped. If you want to, you can format the note to make it stand out from other notes, make it bold, change the colour, click OK, and if you want to see the note, select it and you've got a preview pane over on the right hand side. Normally your notes are sorted in date order, with the most recent notes appearing at the top. But for special notes, ones you want to really focus on, I use this technique. Let's go to Lookup My Contact record. We'll add a new note there and we'll type in the details of the note. But instead of using the default date, I'm going to change that date to 2020 and click OK, and that note is always going to appear in the top half of the notes window for some time to come. So what's the difference between notes and histories? Well, notes tend to be about building relationships with the contact. This person likes to play golf. Whereas history items are more related to the business and are often automatically generated. Every time you send an email, print a letter, clear an activity, or add a new opportunity. But you can always add your own history items by right-clicking to record history. I'm going to record the outcome of a call that was on this date, this time, and it was about requesting a brochure. Click OK, and that history item is now recorded against the contacts record. And it's always possible to filter your history items by date or by type, or by simply coming to the keyword search box and typing in the word you're looking for and clicking enter. And there you can see the history item we added earlier. If you want to search across the entire database for a history item, come across to History List View, and from there you can filter according to time. You can choose current month. You can choose to filter according to type, and within type there are so many different options, as you can see. So what I'm going to suggest is you select the none, and then you can drill down and find precisely the kind of histories you're looking for. So on this occasion I'd like to look at all of the emails that have been sent. Click away, and there you can see in this month those are the history items that have recorded emails sent. If you need to plan future events, calls, meetings, to-dos, you need to be working with activities. And there are several ways to add an activity to the database. I usually like to go and look up the contact record, who I'm meeting, and in the Activities tab, I right-click to schedule a meeting. I'm going to change the date for a date next week. I'm going to change the start time to 11 o'clock. The duration, we'll say it's 2 hours. And actually the meeting is in fact all about a demonstration. So I'm going to start to type that in there. I'm going to choose the location as office. I can change the priority if I wish. I can have an alarm to remind me, let's say 15 minutes beforehand, about my meeting. And when all the settings have been made, click OK to add that activity to Dylan's record. So let's take a look at how these activities show up on the calendar. We'll come over to the navigation bar, click Calendar, and there you can see the monthly view. If I hover over the appointment with Dylan, you can see all the details are showing. Let's take a look at some of the other views. The weekly view with weekends included, work week view, or you may prefer to work in daily view. It's absolutely essential that once the meeting has taken place, that activity is cleared so that a history item is generated. So there's several ways of doing this. You can either clear the activity from the calendar by right-clicking over the activity, and you can see the Clear Activity option. But I'm going to show you how to do this from the Contacts window. So I'm going to use the shortcut here to go to the contact. I'm now in Dylan's record. There's the meeting which has taken place. This little white box on the left hand side, click that. That brings up the Clear Activity dialog box, ready for you to clear it down. So let's look at the options. First of all, you could record if the meeting wasn't held. You could also erase the activity completely from your database, but I don't want to do that. It was a successful meeting. This is automatically ticked to add the activity details to history. I'm going to put some more information in here about the meeting. I could actually follow up with another meeting scheduled for a few weeks' time, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Click OK. That activity will now be moved from my Activities tab, and when I click the History tab, there you can see that the history item has automatically been generated for that meeting. Say you want to schedule an appointment with someone who's not in your database. Let's say you've got a dental appointment. There's several things you can do. we'll come up to the New Meeting button, and you can associate all of those appointments with the My Record person. So I'm going to click the drop down, select My Record. That's going to pull out Chris Huffman. I can put in there that it's regarding a dental appointment and click OK. Alternatively, you could create a brand new contact from this window. Come up to the Contacts button, New Contact, and add all the contact details. When you click OK, that new activity will be associated with your new contact. If you need to set up an appointment for multiple contacts and for the activity to show in each of their windows, we need to come up to the New Meeting button, come over to Contacts, select Contacts. All the contacts in your database are on the left, so you can select the ones you want to invite to the meeting, use the top arrow to bring them across onto the right, click OK. Make sure under the Options button, Create Separate Activity for each contact is ticked. Now you can set the date and the time, put what the meeting is regarding, it's business networking. This meeting occurs regularly every month, so I'm going to come up to the Reoccurrence tab, change that to monthly. It takes place on the 21st of the month. If you know the end date, you can add that now and click OK. To erase an activity in Act, you normally right-click over the activity to erase. But with a reoccurring appointment, you need to take it one step further. We'll right-click, erase activity, and there you can see you can either delete this one occurrence or delete all occurrences from the database. If you want to see if you're free on a particular day, you can do so from the Contacts window. Simply select F4 on the keyboard to bring up the mini calendar. All the days where you've got activities will show in bold. So if I select the 27th of September, right click over it, there I can see that I've got an appointment in the morning. So if I want to make another appointment in the afternoon, I just right click to schedule a new appointment. You can set up your Act activities to synchronise with your Outlook calendars. Come up to Tools, Synchronise with Outlook, Outlook Synchronization Preferences. First of all, make sure you're synchronizing with the correct database. You can only choose one database, so if it's not the right one, click the Change button to find your database. Make sure Enable Calendar Synchronization is selected, and then choose what to do if the same activity has been updated in both programs. I usually have Keep Sage Act activity set, and I also want to delete activities from my Outlook calendar when activities are cleared in Act. Click the Advanced Preferences, and here you can choose what types of activities are to be synchronized. You can choose how many days to synchronize. You can also specify where you want the alarms to ring. I'm going to select Act, click OK, and OK to start the synchronization process. It can take a while the first time you synchronize Act and Outlook, but if you want to have it set up so synchronization takes place automatically, come up to Tools, Synchronize with Outlook, Outlook Synchronization Preferences, Schedule Automatic Synchronization. So I'm going to set my sync to take place weekly on Monday at this time and click OK for that to automatically be set up. I really like integrating my Act database with Google. Let's take a look at how this is done. Come up to Tools, Integrate with Google. Come over to Google Integration Preferences. Make sure you've got the right database synchronized with Google, because you can only have one. And if you've never set this up before, you need to register to give Act permission to access your Google account. So click Register. You're prompted to say whether you've got an email account from Google. Click yes once you've set one of those up. Here you're going to grant calendar access to Act, so click Grant Access. And once that has been set up, then you can enable calendar synchronization with Google. You can choose which of the activities is going to take priority. I always want my Sage Act activities to have full priority. I'm going to delete the activity from Google Calendar if it's been removed from my Act database. Click the Advanced Preferences to set up exactly the types of activities that are going to be synchronized and how many days to synchronize for, and where you want the calendar alarms to ring. I'm going to choose Act. Click OK and OK to set up the integration between your Google account and Act. It'll take some time, the first synchronization between Act and Google, but after that you can set up automatic synchronization by coming to Tools, Integrate with Google, Google Integration Preferences. Click Schedule Automatic Integration and choose the frequency. I'll set it up weekly on a Monday at this time and click OK and OK. Now I'm not going to integrate now, so I'll click No. One thing you do need to do is you must make sure you've already got Google Calendars working. If you've never opened up Google Calendars, you're not going to be able to carry out that first sync. Let's just take a look at how it looks. I'm going to come over to the calendar and there you can see a couple of appointments today. If I switch over now to see those same appointments, you'll see how they look in your Google Calendars. If you want to send an iCalendar request to one of your contacts, come up to the New Meeting button, fill out all the regular information, date and time and regarding, and then select Send Invitation Email. Click OK. Outlook will produce an email which you can then send to your contact. I like to use the task list view to manage my activities. You can filter by date, by type, by priorities. And there's a couple of filters that I use regularly. The first one is I click the All Dates button there and I change that to today. And there I can see all the activities that I need to do today. The other thing that's useful is to click the drop down and look at all of those activities that haven't been cleared yet. I can come over and sort these activities by type. You can see all the calls and meetings, and lower down you can see some vacation activities that should have been cleared. So I'm going to highlight and select those. When you right click over these activities, you can choose to clear multiple activities. You can set them as complete, not complete, or erase them completely from your database. You can attach all kinds of different documents to the contacts record, from Word documents, image files, Excel files and PDFs. To add a document to the contacts record, under the Documents tab, click Add Document. Here you've got two choices. You can either attach the file itself or attach a shortcut to the file. I usually would recommend attaching a shortcut. The only caveat on this is that if the file folder is moved on the network, then all the links will be broken. So let's just take a look at how to attach a shortcut. I'm going to attach this particular PDF, select it and open. And there you can see that that shortcut PDF file has now been attached to the contacts record. And if you ever need to remove any of these documents, just select the document, click Remove Document, and that will remove it from the database. I really like using the Web Info tab. It's a great place to do some research on your clients. So let's come over to the Web Info tab. The first thing I'm going to do is increase the tab size. And there you can see the contact's website. It pulls out information from the website field. You can also click Google Driving Directions. That shows you the directions from your office to their office, and if you scroll down at the bottom you can even see how much fuel it would cost to drive there. You can also research them on Google and Yahoo. Let me show you how I've used Act to build my LinkedIn contacts. Every time I meet somebody new out networking or have a new client, I'll add them to my Act database and then come over to the Web Info tab and then over to the LinkedIn section, and this will search for that contact on LinkedIn, and if the contact is found I can click to add to my network. Then I have to choose how I know the contact. Well, we've done business together. You can choose the company, and then you can check your personal message. And when you're ready to go, click Send Invitation. That person will receive an email from you and hopefully connect with you on LinkedIn. So let's see what else you can do on the Web Info tab. We've already seen how you can increase and decrease the tab size. You can attach this web page to a history item. You can copy the website link and paste it into, say for example, an email. You can open the page in a new browser. You can refresh the page. You can use the back button to go to a previously visited web page. And all the way over on the left hand side you can edit the links. You can add new links, like for example a link to Twitter, and I'll show you how you can do that on the expert course. Now let's take a look at the Social Updates tab. This is a great place for keeping on top of your key clients and seeing what kinds of things they're saying and doing on social media sites like LinkedIn and Facebook. So first of all, I'm going to increase the tab size. And you'll notice there are two buttons, LinkedIn, and this client's LinkedIn profile is showing, and when I click Facebook you can see this person's business page on Facebook. Now I'm going to show you how to set it up so that you can search for your clients' Facebook pages and LinkedIn profiles. So first of all I'll go and find another client. There we are, that particular person there. This person here has got a company called S Design. So if I click that, it takes me direct to her Facebook business page. If I select Remember This Page, the next time I go to Sue Smart's record, it will show up. And I'll do exactly the same for LinkedIn. Select the LinkedIn button and there's her profile. So I will select it, make sure that's the page displayed, and I am going to come along here and remember this page. And when you're in the Social Updates tab, you can do various things like refresh the page, open in a browser so you can send messages to your contacts. It's a really useful tool. Use Act to keep and stay in touch with your contacts by email or letters. If you want to send a letter to a single contact, go to the contact record and come up to Write Letter. This will open up the standard letter template. All you need to do now is to add extra information to that letter and make sure it's formatted nicely, and when you're ready, click the Quick Print button, which will generate a Create History dialog box. You can type in there what the letter was all about, and if you put a tick in here to attach the document to history and click OK, that letter will be attached to the contact's record, and there you can see the letter has been attached. To send an email to a single contact, click the contact's email address. This is a hyperlink field. It will open up a new Outlook message. you can just type in there the subject and the body and hit send, and once that email has been sent, a history item will automatically appear in the contacts record to show that that email has gone today. If you want to extract information from your database, you need to be running reports. Let's go over to the reports section, and here you can see there are over 50 different kinds of reports, some of them about contact activities, others about sales opportunities and company information. So let's choose one of these reports to become a favourite report, which will then appear in the top half of the window. So I'm going to click the birthday list. That's now in the top half where all my favourites are, and I'm going to run the birthday list report. Select it and click Run Report. Now I've already looked up some contacts that have got birthdays in my database, so I'll use the current Lookup. It'll take a little bit less time to run it. Click OK, and there you can see a report showing everybody who's got a birthday, all organised in alphabetical order according to contact name. If you work with large organisations with multiple employees, you need to be working at the company level. Let's use this example, Simon J at Brea Golf Club. We're going to create a company from this contact. Go to Contacts, come down to Create Company from Contact. And now we're looking at the companies window. You can see the Brea Golf Club has been added. Over here on the right hand side you can see contacts associated with Brea, only one at the moment. If I click Simon J's name, that will hyperlink straight back to the contact record. Notice that a history item has been recorded to say that this company is now linked to this contact. If you want to add another contact working at the Brea Golf Club, it's easy. Just come along to the Duplicate Contact button, Duplicate Primary Fields, click OK, and now you can see that the Brea Golf Club is showing. All you need to do is to add the contact information and save the record, and here we can hyperlink back and forth between companies and contacts. So I'm going to click the Brea Golf Club. I'm in the company window now, and there you can see two contacts are now associated with the Brea Golf Club. One of the advantages of working at the company level is if you make a change to any of the contact information and save it, all the contacts associated with that record will be updated automatically. So for example, if I change the zip code to 0 at the end and then save that record, you can see I've got a choice. Would I like to update all the linked contacts with this changed data? So I'm going to say yes to that, and now when I hyperlink to one of these contacts, you can see that the actual zip code has now been updated at the contact level as well. If you've only just started to work with companies and contacts, you might find that there are a number of contacts not associated with the right company. So we can manually set up links between contacts and company. For example, Sally is not connected with the Brea Golf Club via the company level. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the company field, click the button with the 3 dots to the right, and it will automatically find the right company and click OK, and now she's automatically connected to that company. And if you ever want to reverse the process and break the link between the contact and the company, you do the same thing. Click the button with the 3 dots and unlink from company and click OK. But going forward, there's a way that you can set your preferences so that every time you add 1 or 2 contacts at the same company, a company is formed and links are automatically created. To do that, come to Tools and Preferences, and we'll come over to Admin and Company Preferences, and I'm going to make sure every time I add 2 people at the same company, a company is created and links are automatic. Click OK, and it says here that 27 new companies will be created. Do you want to continue? I'm going to say yes to that. Companies have all been created with the linked contacts. If you want to delete companies that you've created, like those new companies I created earlier, from List View you can highlight the companies you want to delete, and when they're selected you can right click to delete companies, and it's saying that if I delete these companies it can't be undone. Click yes to delete companies from the list. If you're going to be smart about your marketing, you really need to work with Act groups. This is a great place to segment contacts. Let's take a look at the groups window. Click Groups here. In the centre you can see all the different kinds of groups that have been set up in this demo database. We've got a customer group, we've got a prospect group, we've got some recently added contacts group, and if you ever want to see who's in a particular group, you just click on the group, let's say Key Contacts. You can see there's 35 of them, and over on the right hand side you can see the contact names. Come all the way over here to View Contacts within the group. That'll take you to the regular list view in Act. How do you add contacts to groups? Well, there's several ways. Let's look at this method first. We'll go to the contact record. Now this lady has now become a customer, so I'm going to add her to the customer group. You'll notice in the lower half of the contact window you can see groups and companies. Now I'm going to click the Add Remove Groups button. I'm going to find the customers here on the left and bring that over to the right hand side. Click OK, and there you can see that she has now been added to the customer group. Let's take a look at another way of adding contacts to groups. This time we'll create a brand new group. Click the New button, type in there the group name, and come down to Add Remove Contacts. We'll click the Contacts button, and over on the left are all the contacts in your database. Select the ones you want to add to this new customers group, and when you've finished adding contacts, click OK. OK one more time, and there you can see those contacts that are in your new group. If at any time you want to delete a group, don't worry, you don't delete the contacts, you just delete the group itself. I'll show you how to do that. Just right click over that new customer group, come down to delete, getting a warning asking if you're sure you can't undo this. Click yes to remove that group. If you want to track how successful your business is, use Act Opportunities. Come over to the Opportunities window, and here you can see an opportunity in detail view. There are in fact 2 views, the main detail view where you see all the information about the opportunity, and the list view which shows all those opportunities across your database. Normally opportunities are associated with contacts and companies, but you can add an opportunity in its own right by just clicking the New Opportunity button. Now let's practice adding an opportunity to a contact record. Simon J is interested in one of our upgrade systems, so we'll come to the Opportunities tab, click New Opportunity, and in this blank opportunity record, type in there the opportunity name. It's currently set to open. The various different sales stages can be selected. I'm going to choose Presentation. And over here you can set when you think the estimated close date is likely to be. It's already associated with Simon J at Breyer, so we'll come to the tab at the bottom and add the product that he's interested in. Now, if you've already added your products, you can just select them from the drop down. So it's the Tech 1 system, and when I tab away, the item number, the price is showing automatically. So you've got a cost price here, a retail price, and if you add a discount there, the price will be adjusted automatically. Click OK, and let's save our opportunity. You'll notice that several of these fields are greyed out, they're system fields. Notice what happens if I push this opportunity forward to the next stage. The probability of close is now increasing and the weighted total has been adjusted automatically for us. Did you know you can create a quote from any of your opportunities? Just come up to the Create Quote icon and all the information from the quote you're currently on will be added to the quote template. And there you'll be able to see all the information showing, including Simon J's details and the product that he's purchased. And when you click the print icon, that will generate an Act history, so that document will always be associated with that contact record. Opportunities are just like contacts, groups and companies. They can be created and deleted. If you need to delete an opportunity, just come up to the Opportunity menu command, select Delete Opportunity. Are you sure you want to delete this? To remove that opportunity from your database. I've got over 300 opportunities in this database. If I want to find a particular opportunity, the easiest way is to come over to the Lookup box, type in the part of the opportunity name and click Go. There you can see the Breyer Golf Club opportunity, and in the navigation bar you can see it's just one opportunity of one. Don't forget, if you want to go back to seeing all those opportunities, come over to Lookup All Opportunities to see your full list again. It's really important that you follow up all opportunities. You don't want anything to slip through the net. So in this example here, we're going to push this opportunity on to the next stage, commitment to buy, but I want to make sure that I follow that up with a call next week. So I'm going to come to Activities, right click and schedule a call. First of all, in the usual way, you'll set the date, and then in the regarding line you can say what it's regarding, discuss legal points. I'm going to set an alarm to remind me to call them, click OK, and that way that will always show up on your task list, so you'll be able to follow up and make sure that opportunity gets closed. And when you win the business, don't forget to change the status to closed and won. If unfortunately you lose the business, it's a good idea to put the reason why you lost, because you can run opportunity reports based on this field. But I'm going to set it to closed and won and hit the save button now to save my changes. Let's filter this list to show all the opportunities that we've won. Come up to the status drop down and select none, and then go back to just show those closed won opportunities. Click away and there you can see 121 business opportunities that have been won. And if you want to, you can right click to print the opportunity list. There's so much more you can do with opportunities. You can add new fields, you can change the layouts, you can add new tabs to capture information. You can send all your opportunities to Excel for further analysis with pivot tables, and we go into a lot more depth on opportunities on the expert training course. Now let's take a look at the dashboard. There are in fact 5 predefined dashboards available, and you need to be at least manager in order to edit or create a new dashboard. Dashboards really are a snapshot view of your entire database. Let's take a look at the Opportunities dashboard. In the top half of the window, you can see all those opportunities organised by stages. Over on the right, you can see your sales gauge where you can set your targets and see how close you are to meeting that target for any particular month. Then you can see your top 10 opportunities across the database, and lower down you can see all open opportunities organised by product. Now let's take a look at a different kind of dashboard, the contact dashboard. Here you can see a list of recently created and edited contacts. You're able to filter this list, so if you want to see only those records that have been added in the last 7 days, you can change that and click OK. And lower down you can see that there's a history count of all the different types of histories. And currently at the moment that's showing all users of the database, but you could filter that and change that so it just shows Chris Huffman's activities. The Act Scratchpad is installed at the same time as Act, and it can be found on the desktop. If yours isn't showing, you might have to go to the welcome page and start using Scratchpad. But that's the icon. Double click to open up the Scratchpad, and it's like a virtual notepad. You can start typing in their tasks. When you complete tasks, you can put a tick in them to show that they've been cleared. You can make certain tasks stand out, making them bold. Or if you want to, you can select a task and send to Act. And you can send it as a note, or you can schedule an activity with a contact, which is what I'm going to do. Click the call icon, and all you need to do now is just find the contact that you want to associate it with and click OK, and that activity has now been set up in your Act database. It's really important, once you've been working with Act for any length of time, that you back up your database properly. And the way to do that is to come to File, Backup Database. And I usually like to put in the date that I've created the backup, so I'm just going to put that in and click Browse. Now the first time you back up the database, you might be prompted to create a backup folder. I've already got a backup folder, so I'll click Save and OK, and that's going to actually back up the database into a zip file, which if the computer crashes and you need to unpack the database on another machine, then that's going to be perfectly possible with a proper zip file. There may be times when you want to move a database from one computer to another, or from one location to another on the same computer. The first thing you need to do is to run Act as an administrator. So close Act, go to the icon on the desktop, right click over it and run as administrator. Then you can go into Act and go to File, Move Database, and we're going to use the top one where we prepare and move from one folder to another on this computer, and click Next. So the first thing is I want to go and find a new database location. So I'm going to browse, and actually I'm going to create a new folder. I'll just call it New, and that's where I'm going to put this database, and click Next. And you'll notice that it's preparing to move the database, and it'll take a little bit of time, but once the database has been moved, you can literally just open it up in this new location. Now let's finish with some database entry rules. It really is essential that you're consistent about the way you enter information into your database. Wherever possible, I'd recommend using drop-downs so you can pick from the list. Also, to avoid using periods, full stops, commas, in names, street names, etc. Please choose one way and stick to it. Take a look at the 2 ways you can enter the company, the Flaming Tree. Both ways work, but you do need to choose one method and stick to it. I'm sure you've heard of the expression GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Well, that's so true. Your database is only going to be as good as the data that you enter into it. So make sure it's good data. You'll be able to get great results with that. So think about managing contacts, developing relationships, getting great results from your Act database. Thanks very much for listening. Till next time.